Heyo everyone, this is the HappyAnimaidCafeManager here with another Let's Play for Fire Emblem here. 3 houses. Anyway, if you don't want to like me reading a bunch of text, and just skip to the next episode. So anyway, here we go. The History of Poland Part 2. Alright, here we go. Yeah, I'm a little distracted. So anyway, Imperial Year 721, the first Mock War. The Dagnan army invaded from across the sea through the Imperial forces, resisted the attack and drove off the enemy. The land of Mock sustained considerable damage. Imperial Year 728, the invasion of Brigid. The Empire invaded the Brigid archipelago and land occupied by allies of Dagda. As penance for the refusal to surrender, the people of Brigid were relegated to the life of imperial subjugation. Imperial Year 731, the invasion of Dagda. With the boon of a strong foothold of Brigid in the Empire, mounted a large-scale invasion of Dagda. However, the fortunes of war were not on their side, and their attack failed. Imperial Year 747, the Fergus Rebellion. Lug, a descendant of one of the houses that first quarreled with the Empire and raised an army to demand independence, pulling the land of Fargus into a fierce rebellion. This clash came to be known as the War of the Eagle and Lion. Imperial Year 751, the founding of Holy Kingdom of Fargus. Lug and his resistance army were vicious over the Imperial forces. The Holy Church of Saros, mediated between the two, and Fargus secured its hard-won independence as the Holy Knight of Fargus. Imperial Year 801, the Leicester Rebellion. A rebellion broke out in the Imperial lands of Leicester, or Leicester, I keep forgetting how that's pronounced, which the Imperial army was unable to suppress. The Holy Kingdom, viewing the uprising as an opportunity to increase its own political sway, occupied the Leicester region, formerly known as, declaring it as a territory of Fargus. Imperial Year 861. Okay, Imperial Year 861, Fargus divided. Following the death of King Claus I, 3 princes became archdukes and split the Holy Kingdom of Fargus, that they may rule over it as 3 separate territories. Imperial Year 881, the Crescent Moon War. The Archduke ruling over Leicester region of the kingdom succumbed to illness. The lords of Leicester lands refused to acknowledge the next Archduke in the alliance, instead applying the rule jointly as an alliance. Imperial Year 901, the founding of the Leicester Alliance. The Leicester Alliance was officially formed after the subjugation of hostile nobles and the removal of all opposing forces in the regions of Fargus. An influential figure from the outset, Duke Regan was inaugurably the heart of the newly formed alliance. Imperial Year 961, the Almerian invasion. The great eastern nation of Almeria crossed through the Foland's throats and invaded Alliance territory. The Imperial dispatched troops in order to help conquer this threat, and the attackers were just barely driven off. Imperial Year, the construction of Poland's locket to defend against the future Almerian invasions. The Alliance Kingdom and the Empire joined their efforts and resources to construct the indomitable fort known as the Poland's Locket. Register of Kingdom Nobles. A register of prominent noble houses of the Kingdom of Fargus. This document is expressly for official use by the Church of Saros. Students are forbidden to remove or pursue this documentation. 1179th edition. House Bladed. The house claims bladed of the 10 elites as its ancestors. It has ruled the kingdom for over 400 years, ever since Lugan, the king of lions, claimed victory in the War of the Eagle and Lion in 751. This secured the kingdom's independence from the Thracian Empire, after which Lug was crowned as its inaugural king by the Church of Saros. House Bladed resides in Ferdia, the kingdom capital, claiming all the surrounding territories as its domain, and many of the fiefdoms in the north of Foland as its vassals. With the passing of King Lambert in 1176, his older brother, Grand Duke Rufus of Etha, assumed the burden of ruling the kingdom, and the young crown princess Steed, even still strife and disorder, continued to plague the land. House of Frauderius. This house of dukes claims Frauderius of the 10 elites as its ancestors. It is one of the most ancient houses on record, even among kingdom nobility. It is said that Kaifun, the sworn friend of Lugan, the king of lions, was also related to the hero Fraudarius. House Gautier. This house of Margraves claims Gautier of the 10 elites as its ancestors. Its territory lies in the northmost reaches of the kingdom. As such, it has a safeguarded kingdom territory against incursions by the people of the strength of region for over 200 years. House Sharon. This house counts claims the Sharon of the 10 elites as its ancestors. Tasked with negotiating between the resistance armies and the church of Saros during the War of the Eagle and Lion. The head of House Sharon continues the tradition of ceremonial competition within the kingdom. House of Galatia. When the House of Daphne, once cornerstone of the Leicester alliance, was divided in two over an inheritance feud, half of them defected to Fargus and established House Galatia, which was granted the noble title of Count. Much of its territory consists of frigid wasteland where a severe famine occurred in the early 1170s. House of Roe. A noble house that once held territory in the Northern Empire. When the fortress city of Arian Road was constructed within its domain, it revolted against the empire and pledged the entirety of its territory, including Arian Road, to the Holy Kingdom of Fargus. For this contribution, it was awarded a noble title, Count. House of Clemen. This house originally held no more than a lordship over a single castle in the West Kingdom, but it was awarded the noble title of Viscount for its great success in the subjugation of Duskar region in 1176. Afterwards, it was granted the Duskar region as its federal estate. Register of Alliance Nobles. A register prominent of noble house of the Leicester Alliance. This document is expressly for official use by the Church of Saros. Students are forbidden to remove this documentation. House of Regan. The leading house of the Leicester Alliance was descendants of one of the 10 elites in the Crescent Moon War of 881 that spearheaded the move toward independence from the kingdom, as well as the establishment of a republic by its former vassals. They have held the esteemed responsibility of leading the alliance roundable ever since. The position of this House of Dukes relies on the noble rank bestowed upon it by the kingdom well before the alliance founding. The current Duke Regan's heir, Godfrey, died in an accident while on duty. While he did not leave behind a surviving daughter, she is presently accounted for. House of Goneril. Descendant of one of the 10 elites, it is a military house that is chiefly tasked with the military strikes and defense against the Almerian army, mostly due to its territory position in the east. Lord Holtz, the next head of the house, is widely known as the alliance's bravest general. House of Ordelia. The House of Counts with the land of the East Leicester territory in 1167. It was involved in the House of Hrim's rebellion, and the Empire retaliated by repeated meddling in the House Eternal affairs, leading to a sharp decline in its noble standing. the House Gloucester. Descendants of the 1 to 10 elites in this house counts hails from southern Leicester territory. The current head of the house is ambitious, excels at public relations, and has influential voice among the 5 noble families with voting rights at the Leicester Alliance Round Table, second only to the House Regan. House Edmund, a house that graves with the land of the North Leicester territory, its beneficial trade policies, emphasizing fair use of personal harbors, have awarded the house a great deal of clout to such a degree that it was eventually accepted into the ranks of the 5 great lords of the Alliance. Their current head of the house is a renowned orator. House Daphne, descendants of 1 to 10 elites, formerly among the 5 great lords of the Alliance, has lost much power due to internal discord. For the last several generations, no head house Daphne has borne a crest. In spite of this, it still maintains its status as a noble family. Register of Empire Nobles Part 2. House Girth, a house of dukes that has inherited rule over the Empire's Ministry of the Exterior, diplomacy for foreign relations and relations between various provinces in the capital fall under its purview. It worked hard to secure the ceasefires that had ended both the Brigid and Dagda campaigns. Though complicit in the insurrection, it remains distant from associated houses. House Arundel, formerly a minor noble house of the Empire, as head of the house when Volkard's younger sister became betrothed to the Emperor Ionius IX. Volkard was granted the title of Lord Arundel, having worked closely with the House of Eger. House Arundel is one of the chief instigators of the insurrection of 7. House of Herm, a house of imperial viscounts resisting Emperor Ionius IX's policy of the power centralization. It set out to join alliances and secure independence from the Empire, but was unable to overcome the imperial army's intervention. In the aftermath, the house's main genetic line was wiped out. Its current head of house is an adoptee. Yeah, I'm just noticing that in the back of the kit. Okay, on the monitor part of my camera. Yeah, all I'm seeing is a blank screen. So, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing some words as I'm trying to keep you guys in the loop for this episode. A house of imperial viscounts with territory on the western coast of the Empire centered around its namesake harbor of the Neuville. The house flourished thanks to commerce with Dagda, Albania, Brigid, and other territories. Even still, it fell to the ruin of 1175 after permitting the combined invading forces of Dagda Brigid armies to make landfall. House of Oaks, a house of imperial barons, and its territory occupies the northern half of the western peninsula known as Voland's Banks. The head of the house was lost to Dagda in Brigid War. House of Bartels, a house of imperial barons, highly ambitious. It sought out and acquired several crests for its bloodline. In 1176, many members, including the head of house, died under unexplained circumstances. The deed was attributed to the heir, Emil, as well as his whereabouts are unknown. Leadership of the house fell to distant relative. Okay, so I read the other one in reverse. So this one is Register of Empire Nobles Part 1. House of... So excuse me if I'm reading this out of order. House of Presvelg. The most distinguished noble house of the Empire, tracing its roots all the way back to the Emperor Wilhelm. It began it has been the governing house of the empire for 1100 years. In addition to the first emperor, its lineage is also traced back to Saint Saros himself, which is why generations of the emperors are believed to be the crest of Saros. House Hresvelg resides in Imbar, the imperial capital, claiming all the surrounding territories as its domain. It boasts its supreme authority both within the empire without until the insurrection of the Seven in 1171, which much of its power was stripped away by the nobility. In recent years, the series of misfortunes has plagued this story house, and some believe dark clouds hover over the future of the Hresvelg reign. House of Eger. The House Dukes possessing a great power within the empire, second only to House Hresvelg. The head of the house came to occupy the post of the prime minister, rendering the title the hereditary one thereafter. House Eger led the insurrection of the Seven and, in many ways, holds the true power to governing the empire. House of Vestra. A house of marquises without domain existing in the shallow House Hresvelg. In addition to managing the dark tasks of the empire, it is responsible for the emperor's periphery affairs, including coordinating things such as ceremonies, rituals, imperial consorts, and the imperial guard. House of Vestra was allied with House Eger in the insurrection. House Hebring. A house of counts that has been inherited rule over the empire's domestic affairs, particularly those related to administration, finance, and the judiciary. It frequently clashes with the Ministry of Military Affairs over these matters. Much of its territory lies in Ogma Mountains, and as such it enjoys the fruits of the lucrative mining industry. House of Berglius. A house counts that has inherited rule over the Empire's Ministry of Military Affairs. It commands all the armies that do not directly belong to the Emperor. During times of war, the head of the house becomes the Imperial's army commander-in-chief. Their territory encompasses most of the Empire's main breadbasket, Gronder Field. House Barley. A house that counts that has inherited rule over the Empire's Ministry of Religion, whose main responsibility is to maintain amiable relations with the Church of Saros. However, due to the estrangement of the Church from the Empire in recent years, it is now involved with the judiciary, causing political strife within the Ministry of the Interior. What? There's more? Okay, the Book of Saros, Part 5. Okay, there's Book of Saros Part 1 and 2, and then there could have been a Part 3, Part 4, and Part 5. Maybe Part 3 and 4 are just unimportant. And besides, aren't I supposed to be looking for the singing enthusiast? Well, anyway, thanks for watching. Until the next time, to be continued, baby.